So we're here with Max, who's the lodge manager of Delphi Club in the Bahamas. We've had a fantastic couple of days. We had a very entertaining day yesterday with Toby becoming obsessed with the Bohemian triggerfish and failing on all counts. He hasn't given up yet though. He's about to head out and have another crack.
Have another go, yeah.
Anyway, we just thought we'd run through a couple of things with Max and just to give you an idea of what to expect if you come to Delphi. So, number one question: what should a guest bring in the way of tackle?
Well, we've got stuff for the guest anyway, if they don't feel like they have everything that might be appropriate for the fishing. But 8-weight rod is pretty standard. We fish bonefish generally. There is other options, but bonefish is the main target. So an 8-weight, a 7-weight if it's a little light on wind is okay as well. And then you do need a decent reel because bonefish, as you guys found out yesterday, pull pretty hard and they go a long way. And the cheap reels that we use for the trout and stuff, it's just not going to cut it. And you need a decent reel for sure. And then the most important other thing is sunglasses. A lot of people seem to think that the reel is or the rod is the sort of the be all and end all, but actually having a decent pair of sunglasses, even in two like lens colours, yellow for the dark days like today, or blue or green for the brighter days, is really important. You'll see most of the guides have 2 pairs of sunglasses that they change around dependent on the light conditions because it really does help.
Our guide
today he had two sets of sunnies on the cap.
Yeah, no, but it's really important. Honestly, a day like today when it's grey like this, the yellow lenses let in more light and they give you just an extra 20% chance of seeing the fish. And see it on a day like today when the fish are most likely going to be seen from 10 to 40 feet, not at 40 to 80. It's going to give you that extra second or 2 seconds to be able to get the flight. Make the cast, exactly. Yeah.
And what's a sort of typical daily routine for a guest here at Delphi?
Well, to be honest with you, we're pretty relaxed. We run on a pretty relaxed basis. I always think that it's the guest's prerogative what they want to do. But we would usually, fishing would be 8 until 4 for a full day, or 8 until 1, and then come back here for lunch. But it's really up to the guests. Some guests say to me they want to get up at 9. I say no worries, the guide will be here waiting for you. Go whenever you want. It doesn't make any difference. It's all about the guest being happy, and sometimes people want to go at different times. No problem.
And obviously this is one of the sort of classic destinations for non-fishers.
Yeah.
Any activities or anything for them, or is it a sort of fly and flop?
Yeah, I mean you can do this. Obviously fishing is the main thing that we sell. You guys had a bit of experience with hog hunting the other day, which is pretty cool. It's not for everybody. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but for the ladies or the men who don't fish, there's Hopetown, which is a great little settlement off the coast. For the partiers on Sunday, there's a huge pig race at a place called Nippers. There's other stuff to do. You don't want to get locked completely into the fishing. We've got a great pool. We've got a great beach if people want to come and relax. If they want to drive around, there's a couple of great golf courses, stuff like that.
And so there's different species of fish here. I mean, primarily, obviously, it's bonefish, but there's other things you can go chasing around on the flats or deep water or...
Yeah, so we obviously talked at length at dinner about this, in terms of the other species. Barracuda being the number one sort of species that is completely undervalued as a sport fish. It's one of the best fish you can catch. They're incredibly aggressive. They fight. They jump. So that would be 10 weights and upwards.
And they get quite decent size. The barracuda.
They get big, yeah. The biggest I've had, or the biggest a guest here has had, is about 43 pounds on fly, which is enormous. Yeah. That doesn't happen very often. Most of the fish come between 10 to 25 pounds, okay, a couple of 30s in there occasionally, but it's not to be overlooked. In terms of other fish you can catch, there's always lots of blue holes that the whole island is made up of that are magnets for jacks and snappers and rockfish. And then down south there's coral reefs, and if you want to try something different you can backdrift the reefs and catch rockfish, groupers, etc, etc. It's not too difficult.
Yeah, we saw a few snappers.
Yeah, a few snappers, lots of sharks.
Yeah, mutton snapper is one of the coolest fish you can catch. It's difficult to specifically target them. But there is spaces where you can give yourself a better chance of getting into them, like rocky shorelines, a little bit similar to where you were fishing yesterday on that point where you suggest, there's a little drop off on the back of some coral and stuff like that. These are the kind of places that you can give yourself a better chance to catch these fish.
Yeah. And obviously there's sharks as well.
Yeah.
Toby hooked into a monster this morning.
Monster shark.
Yeah, the sharks are great fun. Again, being completely candid with you, if the weather's not so good, always come prepared, for sharks, for a bit of shark fishing. The guides are fully prepared, to drop the bonefish, and if it's bad light, and go to a creek and make some stuff happen with some bait, and then get some fish coming around and stuff. There's no sort of highbrow here. You go catch whatever you want, and the sharks get huge, absolutely massive, and they're great fun on a fly rod. They're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, we saw quite a big bull shark yesterday, but he declined my popper.
Yeah, so a pretty amazing event happened, I think a year ago now. A dead whale washed up on the rocks by Cherokee, and you had like a National Geographic moment when all these sharks, 10, 12, 15 foot tigers and bulls and stuff, were just pounding this meat was stuck up on the rocks, and they were all just underneath, like circling until the tide got higher and hammering it. And there are a couple of guys who went out and got a couple of 12, 14 foot tigers, which is completely insane.
That's nuts, isn't
It's
it?
amazing. But the variety of fish it's endless. There's triggerfish you're going to go catch in a second. There's jacks on the beach. There's occasional tarpon if you get lucky. Big snappers, all that kind of stuff.
And permit.
And permit, although I must say for the record that I haven't caught one yet. Although I've tried.
Neither have I.
I've tried. There is permit. Actually, Abaco permit fishery now is, there's a lot of people coming here and specifically fishing for permit because they're not pressured and they're bigger. They're not the schools of like 10, 15 smaller ones. You're looking at 15 to 30 pounders as a regular occurrence, and you'll get 3 or 4 shots a day at fish like that here, which is pretty cool as well.
That's amazing. And flies, will guides provide flies, or do you have to bring your own, or you can buy some here?
There's plenty of flies upstairs. Don't let anyone tell you that one fly works somewhere, doesn't work somewhere else. It's not true. It's all about the fly choice. If you feel good about it, obviously ask your guide, but if you feel good about it, it's all about getting the fly coming away from the fish. In 4 years since I've been here, I've fished some really scatty looking flies, and it's all about getting that fly coming away from the fish, absolutely perpendicular, and as you go around the angle, it gets less chance of hooking up on those fish, and you'll see it regularly. You get a fly coming away from that fish like that, and you'll generally catch them. But in terms of fly choice for the marls, like a light sort of hollow bead gotcha or Charlie or something like that is just going to be fine. We tend to match the colour of the fly to the colour of the bottom. Oceanside, especially today with a bit more waves, you want dumbbell eyes, something a bit darker, something that's going to match the colour of the weed, like a shrimp that is a different colour. In this kind of water is not going to last very long. So most of them are the same. It's going to look unnatural.
Presumably the weed guards are quite handy in some places.
Yeah, weed guards are really handy. A lot of our flies actually don't have them because in the marls it's not necessary, and only really on the days when the weather is different do we go and fish other spots, unless people are really sort of wanting to go and do it. A lot of our people who come here.
We definitely could have used weed guards yesterday. In the mangroves and on the rocks.
But today we didn't need them at all.
Yeah, sometimes it's important. The guide will really put you on the spot. The guide. The reason about coming here is because the guide is doing all the hard work for you, and just looking at flies and putting you in the spot. It's really up to you to be able to cast. So I would say the other thing about coming here, especially bone fishing, is accuracy between 10 feet and 45 feet. And if you even practice that for just a little bit before you come, people get so hung up in distance and stuff like that. It's really not the reality of bone fishing. The reality of bone fishing is 10 feet, and that's the length of your rod, and 45 feet, which is not very far.
And if you can double haul, it definitely helps because as we've seen over the last couple of days, it can get pretty windy. And it just helps you get the fly out to the right place at the right time.
It's very useful. It's very useful. You know, as much as the guests would like me to be able to control the weather, I can't.
We thought you were a magician.
No, unfortunately not. No, I can't control the weather, but a double haul is useful, and even a single haul is going to help you out dramatically. A single haul is part of pretty much every cast anyway. And just spending a bit of time, accuracy between 10 and 45 feet is really the key to catching bonefish.
And leaders? What sort of leaders?
Well, as you guys found out yesterday, you should probably test your leaders before you go out fishing to make sure that to make sure it's good stuff. The bonefish are incredibly strong fish, and a lot of the time there is a little bit of coral and rocks and stuff, and any weakness in the line is gonna break straight away. I fish 15 pounds straight through. I know everyone likes to fish the tapered leaders. It helps in the wind occasionally, but 12 to 16 pound is absolutely fine. I like to fish the
length.
Again, I think the tapered leaders they sell at 10 foot. If you're fishing in the marls, that's absolutely fine. If you're fishing one of the spots that gets fished more often, then I would always tie on an extra 3 or 4 feet of something else, just to give me an extra bit of distance between me and the line. But